back to the CDC, is they declare a monopoly. No lab wants to go and build a test that the CDC has declared a monopoly over. So we're all unprepared. CDC fumbles a test, cries uncle, asks everyone else to get involved. FDA steps in and says, wait a minute, you can't just go and do this test without an emergency use authorization. In case of emergency, you have to break glass and, oh, sorry, don't break the glass. You have to fill out 10 pieces of paperwork and send it to us as to why you want to help out in this emergency. Right? I mean, that's insane. When there's an emergency, you need to get rid of the paperwork, not ask people to fill it out. So everyone right now is trying to get emergency use authorizations for their kits so they can get into the marketplace, and the FDA is choking that. I'm sure the people there are working really hard late at night. I know some of them, they're not bad scientists. It's more that the structure that they have has no competitors and no accountability. When they're wrong, their budgets get bigger. You will notice the CDC and the FDA got more money by screwing up. They didn't get less, all right? That doesn't happen in the free market. You screw up, you lose customers, and they go to your competitors, right? So CDC screws up, they get more money. They relinquish this. The rest of the world starts doing the test. They run into the FDA's EUA. Once they get past the EUA, only CLIA labs can run it. CLIA labs have to have MDs on staff that sign off on every report. This is all to do PCR, okay? PCR was invented like in '86 by Kerry Mullis. This technology is like 40 years old, and it's like making chocolate milk. I mean, it's really, really simple. This is stuff that gets done in the field. We have devices that can detect cannabis like genetics in the field that growers can use. They're colorimetric tests that run off a USB-driven PCR device that just change color if the amplicon's there. So we can determine the sex of a cannabis plant in a cannabis grow, all right? We don't need, you can do this at home, but they're getting in the way if you're doing this at home. The ultimate way to decentralize this testing is to do it at home. You don't want to have everyone run to a hospital to get tested because then they get infected. The hospitals are the super spreaders, right? So centralizing the testing in hospitals is like idiocy, and it's what's happening because of regulation. This should be done at home. So you get a test at home and you figure out, okay, I'm sick, I'm not going to go anywhere. I got my answer. Maybe I'll double check it with a doctor who has a slightly better test. But you could screen 90% of the problems if you had home testing, but the home testing is virtually illegal right now. Although I know a lot of people that are just doing it because they're so angry at the FDA and they don't believe it's the right of the FDA to get in the way of them reading their own genome. And it isn't. We paid $3 billion to have the Human Genome Project done. And after it, we now have layers and layers of regulation for any person to go and read their own genome. That's a crime. It's double taxation in many ways. And there's no real logic to it other than fear that FDA is here to keep you safe. We need to make sure all those tests are accurate and they're right. And they don't do shit to make sure it's accurate or right. They just process your paperwork. And that's it. They don't do any reproduction of your work. They don't run the test on site. They just paper you with shit.